Welcome back, everybody. Now we're going to hear from two industry experts who are going to share their insights around how to rethink the omni-channel customer journey and implement rapid digital transformation. Here's a little bit about our speakers. Jane Lilly has more than 20 years of experience in the retail technology sector and more than 10 years working in digital technology, leading digital transformation strategy and execution for multiple retailers. Her focus is on achieving productivity improvements and delivering revenue-enhancing strategic objectives. Currently, Jane is the Senior Vice President of Digital Technology at Signet Jewelers, where she is the principal at leading strategies in digital technology, including connected commerce strategy, agile product methodologies, data strategy, digitally enabled products and services, and distributed order management. Roland Gossage leads the overall vision, strategy, operations, and development of Group Buy to create a fundamentally better experience for e-commerce shoppers. He's a seasoned professional with over 20 years of experience in sales, marketing, services, operations, and development in the enterprise software industry. His previous roles include Endica, Cognos, Hummingbird Communications, and Pure Data. Prior to his career in software, Roland was a member in the Royal Canadian Armoured Corps. And now we'll begin the session with Jane and Roland.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for the great introductions. It's amazing to be speaking to you all today. It's a little bit odd. It's like one of those weird dreams of you're on an episode of Grey's Anatomy. But other than that, pretty good to finally share a stage and share some information with you all today. Jane, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Roland. I'm thrilled to be here. Hi, everyone.
So we're going to talk about some tips on optimizing the e-commerce conversation through digital transformation, using AI and different technologies and techniques in that. We've got introduction already, so here's us again, but I'll go through this. Now, when we look at the information that's out there and we look about how to guide our approaches and technology stacks, some interesting things that I sort of pulled out. If you look at the expectations for this year, e-commerce sales are expected to be 18% of all retail sales. Now, you couple this with the fact that 33%, almost 34% of shoppers are going to look up things like price and comparison and related products while they're in the store, right? So the digital experience is coming inside the experience, and you add those up. So that means that your digital strategy at a minimum is impacting 50% of your entire revenue, right? So that's kind of a sort of interesting point, because now it really is a core fundamental. It's not a nice to have anymore, it's a must have. But if you actually look now at the other side and what the metrics are telling us around how people are, the social impact, the fact that 80% of consumers actually look to friends and family before they make a purchase, right? You know, did you, shop for this before? You bought one, what do you think about it? So that's a very large percent. The other thing is that people, when they come in and they have a poor experience, people are actually leaving that brand and not coming back. So you can look at the loss of having a poor experience for over 2 billion shoppers on the planet. And they estimate just, and this is just one other stat, is that almost $1 trillion is going to be lost this year just due to poor personalization alone. Just personalization, that's not the entire experience. So those are pretty big numbers. And solving this problem, which I think Signet's doing a great job at really tackling these metrics and going after them, are core to transforming your business, to creating that next level experience, and one that pays off in dividends if you get it correctly. The other thing is that, and I found this really kind of interesting, if you looked at 2000, the average attention span of a person was about 12 seconds. As of today, it's now 8 seconds. A goldfish now is 9 seconds, so that we have a lower attention span than a goldfish. So you don't have a lot of time to get that right, right? So that we have decreasing attention spans, higher expectations. And so solving this is actually quite a difficult problem. So when we talk about looking at this and moving technology aside, and we look at the sort of fundamental pillars on how to solve these problems, is the first thing is you need to understand your customer. What are they telling you about what they want, how they buy, how they shop? Then look at the plethora of information you have and look how you can apply that information to solve that understanding for the client. Now, I know that we've all talked about things like machine learning and AI, and it sort of seems like different sound bites are going on, but not doing this will hold the business back to creating things like personalization and doing things like relevancy at scale, etc. Last but not least is you still have to empower your merchants, and I think you're going to talk a little bit about that. And there's this balance of man and machine, right? So a lot of people said the machine will do it all for us. The difference is we're all running businesses. We have margins. We have certain commitments to our vendors and quantities that we're going to buy or to hit certain price points. So we have to balance that man and machine, and that's actually a very tough balance sometimes to actually do. And I think Jane will get into a little bit of that as we go through some of the tips that she's going to cover. So these are the fundamentals of what we want to cover today. And what we want to talk is about some of the transformations and trends that are happening in this. So Jane's going to share her experiences, what her team's been able to do around the evolution of the customer experience, connected commerce, which I love. I know we've been talking omnichannel a long time, and so I've kind of stolen this now and run with Jane's terminology here. Customer-centric transformation, internal business transformation, which I think is probably one of the largest to overcome. And then also the evolution of the e-commerce experience through product discovery. I know that we talk about things like search and merch traditionally. Now we're talking about the complete journey, sort of that cradle to grave, end to end. And the last is, how do we democratize AI? For a lot of people, AI seems a little unreachable. Do I have to have a team of 20 machine learning experts? What if I can't afford that? What if I don't even have a team of 10 people? How do we unleash that and actually give people the power to unlock that value? So let's talk a little bit about how you've seen, and I know that your business has gone through so much in the last year, the habits of your customers changing.
We have changed dramatically, and our customers have changed dramatically since COVID. So like many of you in retail who have stores, we shut down our entire store footprint for a period of time. And along with that, we sell high-priced items, often low inventory position. Our customers are now more comfortable than ever purchasing high-priced items online. And they're more comfortable because we've done some foundational things that we would have considered an enhancement pre-COVID are table stakes now, but we've done a lot to make them feel more comfortable. So things like virtual jewelry consultants. So you can, today in our world, you can go online, you can look for a piece of jewelry or a diamond and consult with a jewelry consultant virtually. You can virtually try on a piece of jewelry if you choose to. You can then set up an appointment to go in store and physically, you can put your items in your wish list and then physically go into the store and try them on physically if you choose, or just talk, extend your conversation and look at more products in store. So we've done all of that in a very, very, very rapidly. And, quite honestly, again, if we hadn't, and if you don't, customers are going to go elsewhere. Their expectation is that they can shop where they want to, when they want to, how they want to, and of course pay the way they choose. So we've done a lot with that. The fast and easy, we have to make it fast and easy for them, but how were we able to be fast and easy? We pulled a number of levers. The build versus buy question comes up a lot. For us, if we need to get something very quickly that will take multiple years to build, then we consider whether it makes sense for us to buy. And we've done that in many instances. We did it to accelerate and leapfrog from a search perspective. We did it to help ourselves accelerate in terms of site speed and SEO optimization. So again, we built a foundation. We were building a foundation, and we quickly leapfrogged forward with the capabilities that our customers are demanding.
And it's interesting because you had to take what probably was a 3 to 5 year roadmap.
Yeah.
and squish it into 6 months or less even, right?
Yes, and we talk about customer experience. So in some instances, it might have been put together with bubble gum and duct tape, but the front, customer-facing experience, we made sure that experience was a good experience while we, again, built the full solution.
Perfect. Omni-channel to connected commerce, and I found that this is something that I've already reused and stuff like that. We've been talking omni-channel for the last decade, click and mortar, all that sort of stuff. But talk a little bit about how you view this connected commerce world that you're moving towards.
So connected commerce, particularly from a technology perspective, we're going to build a service, and that service is going to be leveraged by every channel. So if our customers want something in store, they're going to want it online. So we're connecting the channels. We're enabling our customers to seamlessly navigate and have the right experience at the right place. And so that for us is a big focus. And again, from a technology perspective, a cost and a time to market perspective, building these services once, building them right, and allowing our customers again to have the same experience and the right experience through each channel is really what our focus is with connected commerce.
And the other thing is also for your business having so many iconic brands under one umbrella and sharing code bases and be able to build once and deploy globally, you've been able to accelerate by having that more the universal type toolkit versus a one-stop for each brand.
Exactly. So we have grown through acquisition, and often through acquisition, and I'm not saying we have none of this, but as we harmonize, we have a build once, toggle on and off by brand methodology. So the differentiation from each brand is the customer-facing side of it, so your branding, your marketing, et cetera, but the code base is a single code base with a toggle on and off by brand.
Perfect. So CustomerCentric, we always talk about this. I think that your industry, especially not having store, I will say that my first ever major purchase, which was my wife's engagement ring, I bought from Peoples, which is a Signet brand. So that was my first major transaction for jewelry. So I was one of those clients. Now, there was no e-commerce back then.
Right.
But what does that mean? Because I did have that in-store experience, and they walked me around, and what does your fiance like, or that sort of thing. How do you translate that now to the digital world?
Well, again, virtual jewelry consultants. So, and again, it's about choice, because if you want to work with someone to help you make your purchase, you can do that. And you can do it virtually and interact the same way you can in the store. Now, things up here that you see, the images, we've really, again, made great progress in terms of having images that feel like you can, touch and feel and see all the details of the item in that virtual experience. But we are simulating the in-store experience online. That doesn't mean it's always exact, because there are some uniquenesses that you may need or want when you're online versus in store. But you can make a purchase online if you choose to. And then the same thing, how fulfillment's a big, we're talking about fulfillment here in this slide. How do you want to receive your order? Do you want to go through the process online and then go into the store to pick it up so you can make sure you're interacting with someone, and in case you have questions or need some additional service? Do you want to buy it online and pick it up curbside? Do you never want to go in the store? Do you want to just buy it online and have it shipped to home? Do you want to buy it and have it delivered the same day? I will tell you.
Did you lose your nerve? Get it quick?
Well, and it's off that and special occasions, but I actually, for years we talked about, is same day delivery the right thing to do? Well, we need to offer everything, and our customers want same day delivery in many instances.
And it's interesting, especially prior to COVID, we did have some customers, actually places you'd work like CVS, which had curbside pickup, and Bed Bath & Beyond, but majority did not, right? And so now those that went through COVID that did very, very well, and their economics and stuff show that, were the ones that were able to turn, BOPIS and same-day delivery into table stakes overnight. Yeah. And that was a huge impact that we've seen in the market. And those who don't offer it, it is a differentiator now, right? So we look at another, if we would talk that past slide stat, is that price is no longer going to be the number one decision that people use to buy. It's going to be, convenience and personalization and creating a frictionless experience that's going to really tip it over. So business transformation, you did it very fast. We lived some of it with you and your team. Maybe talk a little bit about some of those.
Sure. First of all, what we did about a year ago is we hired a chief digital officer and we started operating in a product model. So why did we do that? We did that to put focus in the key areas, the critical areas, to make sure there was focus on removing friction and focus on delivering the right enhancements as quickly as we could. From a business perspective, moving to the cloud, helping us put platforms in place like distributed order management system, optimizing search and having the right foundation for search, all of those foundational things that will help us be more nimble and quick. I have to say, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this, acceleration is in front of every initiative that we have on our roadmap today. But so more test and learn. So we have these product teams who are working with data and who are rapidly putting tests out there, getting feedback back from our customer, and then implementing both new technology, new enhancements for our customers based on the combination of feedback from the customers and data.
Now, we'll talk about speed here because I know that usually when you get speed versus business, sometimes there's some friction there.
Right.
And what's good for us is not always what we want to do. You were able to use data and business cases to actually show that by maybe losing something in column A, but getting overall site performance up, kind of pays in dividends.
Yeah, and again, data is key, and especially when it comes to change. So the example that Roland's talking about here is site speed, and in SEO, so site speed is critical, but business doesn't always like change. And so we needed to very rapidly create a faster experience for our customers on our site. So we went to a platform, a third-party platform, and integrated with that platform. Now, there's always positives and negatives with change. Positive is we get the site speed we want. Perceived negative is business can't always, it enforces good practice. And so the tools that you use today are not always the tools you can use tomorrow and have the fastest site speed. So that's measuring, showing improved conversion, showing the site speed core metric now, statistics to our business and educating them along the way. It was definitely a big lesson learned for us as we go through this, especially technology transformation.
Mm-hmm. And definitely now with Google changing its algorithms and looking at mobile versus desktop differently, and the performance checks that they're doing, this is going to become even more critical as you go forward. Speed is not a nice to have. There's data out there that's very old data. For every second you reduce page load speeds, you have about a 7% impact conversion rate. But soon it'll impact whether or not Google ranks you higher or lower in your organic search. So it kind of has a double whammy, either both directions, right? It helps you with your conversion or hurts you in conversion, and then the amount of traffic that you get to the site. So very critical to do. So let's talk a little bit about the evolution of the user journey, right? And product discovery, and how, from where you started from to where you are now, and how you look at things.
Sure. So of course, search is critical. If you don't find what you want, or if you find too much and you can't figure out what you want, it's not a good experience, and you're probably going to lose that customer. So putting a search engine and then search capabilities in place that personalize. So we used Group I's search platform. We started working with them a couple of years ago, and we did it for a number of reasons. One was the ongoing care and feeding was just not something that we had dedicated time and effort to. So with the ongoing care and feeding, and then the ability to leapfrog forward with a bunch of capabilities like real-time boost and bury, driven by AI and ML, predictive search, data enrichment, and a whole roadmap full of capabilities that our customers really wanted and we really needed to give to our customers to ensure that the customers will ultimately purchase. we decided to go down the buy path in that case. And I mean, it has been invaluable since, in terms of really making our search experience a better one. And we're still, as new enhancements are rolled out by Group Buy, and as we want new enhancements that we feel are specific to Signet, we have a dedicated team helping us to continue to realize that roadmap. And that's an example of, we have a whole product team focused on that in partnership with Group Buy right now.
So AI, a lot of this obviously is sort of, that you kind of led right into this sort of part of the question, is our goal at Group Buy is to democratize AI. A lot of teams do have a great roadmap that involve machine learning and things of that nature, but don't want to become a software company, right? So we don't want to buy a bunch of machine learning people. A, they're super expensive. B, it's then you have to manage them and all that sort of stuff. Versus, I'd like it just to work, right? So a lot of this is around, democratizing it so that the average business team can leverage all of the great machine learnings that Group Buy and Google, who's our major partner in this, can bring to bear and give like that Google-like experience on your actual website. So that's some of the interesting things that you've sort of experienced with our platform, is that your team doesn't have to consist of those very expensive sort of propeller heads, is that? So that's a really, really core portion of it. Obviously, there's large organizations that have a floor full of them, like the Walmarts of the world. But most organizations don't want to venture down that. The buy always makes a lot more sense. So I did sort of share my personal story. So Signet was my first major transaction. But maybe, Jane, just a little bit about the great brands, the locations that you have.
Sure. So obviously we're a multi-brand jewelry retailer. So brands like K Jewelers, People's, Roland Said, Zales, Piercing Pagoda, which is now rebranded to Banter, for those who didn't know that. The Jared brands, R2Net, and a few more out there. But we are the world, I believe the world's largest, the U.S., in the U.S., largest jeweler in U.S. And again, grew through acquisition. Most recent acquisition was a smaller jewelry subscription retailer called Roxbox. And I've personally been there for about 4.5 years. And it has been, the transformation there has been just amazing. And I guess one of the things that I would not have expected is we came out of COVID stronger and better. Retail is retail, and I've been in retail for a long time. You can never feel overly confident and just say you're good enough. But we did come out, we built a foundation that has pivoted the way people are shopping for jewelry. And they, right now, and hopefully it continues, they are buying jewelry. So we are really focused on making sure we understand what our customers want to continue to buy from us. But it's been quite a year and a half for us. But ultimately, we're feeling good.
Yeah, no, it's been a great. It's 4 years now. I think we've been partnered together.
Yes.
So it's been very, very good. We've been through, upgrades and remodernization and bringing new brands on board. Group Buy is a product discovery platform. We are powered by Google's retail AI, so all that great machine learning and all that sort of stuff built into the system. So search, recommendations, SEO, analytics, to give you that sort of insight. So if you have further interest and you do see Jane, feel free to stop and ask her some questions if you see some applicability, or you're trying to tackle some of these tips and techniques yourself or want to accelerate your plan. We do have a booth in the main area there if you want to come by and talk to any of Group Buy's people on the ways in which we deliver that fundamentally better user experience.
Yeah, and Group Buy's we have dedicated resources who are a part of our product team and our continued evolution. And yes, it's been about 4 years, and for, again, those who are in retail, it seems like it's a small world and folks are very well connected. So actually, someone I worked with previously at CVS was using them and recommended them to us. And we haven't looked back since. So for us, it was a really great foundation for us to jump onto and leapfrog forward from a search perspective very, very quickly. And a personalization perspective, which is when you have customers who want to buy a diamond and you have hundreds of 1 carat or 2 carat diamonds and similar cut, color, and clarity, personalization in situations like that becomes extremely important.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing some of this today, and thank you everyone for listening. Hopefully you walked away with a couple of sound bites there that you can use going forward for your platforms. Thank you.
Jane, I actually have a question. I'm curious, you mentioned offering, you can buy in store, you can get a virtual jeweler,
Yep.
or you can just go at it alone and do it on your own. Are you noticing generational buckets that are choosing one over another?
So we are seeing folks who we would never have seen before shopping online. So I'll start by saying there are people of all generations now that are more comfortable than ever shopping online. But we are focused on figuring out what, and I don't have the answer to it, and I don't even have the data breakdown in terms of, you know, who is most comfortable, but I'll make the same assumptions that you're making. But we are trying to figure out through data really how do we target the younger generation, which is not really our prime customer right now. Engagement, of course, but overall in the jewelry market. But without answering your question directly, because I don't have the answer, I will say that we're seeing all generations feeling much more comfortable than they ever otherwise would have. But we're putting things out there like you're working with a person. And if you can get on that computer, and if you can get to that website, we can hold your hand and help you along. And then ultimately let you come in the store if that's what you choose to do.
Very good. Thank you, Jane and Roland, for all the information.
Thank you.
Thank you.